Now, we're about to continue on a financial track right now. We've started a brilliant new financial well-being series focusing on us first, the Expresso team, and our big questions. And of course, we pose them to our financial guru, Grant van Zyl. And Ewan is currently sitting down with some very important questions regarding his two kids who are fast approaching the age to go to school. This one I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yes, Expresso Wealth Wednesdays are here again. Celebrate, come on! I was trying to give it a theme tune, man. It's not working yet. But anyway, listen, this is now where we talk to a well-known person and ask them about their relationship with money and perhaps get to learn from their experiences and then, of course, get advice from our certified financial planner, Grant van Zyl. Now, Ewan was telling us earlier on that, one of his biggest lessons was that, he kind of spent money very irresponsibly back in his modeling days. And so I want to know right now, what are the things that you are struggling with from a financial management point of view that you wish you knew more about now?
Budgeting, I guess. And I will be straight out honest, I'm still really bad at budgeting. Things are very expensive nowadays, especially then, firstly I had to adjust from this kind of erratic kind of earnings from the modeling side to earning more consistently and how to manage that. And then bam, there was a kid, and then I had to learn to try and adjust with that. And then bam, there was another kid. Now I've got two boys, and then bam, the one kid goes to school. And then I'm like, okay, cool, I've got at least 2 years before the other one has to go to school, and bam, there he goes to school.
So you've been living the hashtag BAM life since 1980.
Hashtag BAM BAM.
This is what it sounds like in my life. It's seriously, it's just like, hey, Ewan, bam, on your head, there you go.
But I don't think that's a strange sound. I think when something as big as that happens to a lot of people out there, you do hear that bam sound.
Absolutely, man. So I think my biggest challenge is to try and adjust, because like I mentioned, things are very expensive. Schooling is very expensive, I've tried to also, get rid of my debt, the cars especially, and I've managed to come to a point where I had to take a big life decision. It's like, I don't need two cars. I'm going to sell my car, which I love, which was a bakkie, and I sold it, and I'm just keeping the family sedan. I paid that all for the money I got for the bakkie, and now I'm just on a motorbike. So I've got the motorbike in the car, and that's my setup at the moment.
Wow.
Dude.
Just to try and get rid of some debt and free up some money at the end of the month. But now, obviously starting a second school, now that brings in a whole new bunch of challenges and unforeseen expenses.
Totally.
Like, I've got two little, plastic little motorbikes at home for my boys. And now there needs to be another one because the one is too small. And I'm like, right, for you to stop fighting, I'm going to buy my oldest kid a bigger one so the youngest one can't go on that. Go to the shop, it's like, it's 500 Rand.
Whoa,
So then there he goes, riding on my dinner.
Grant, you got a big plate right now that you need to handle. So try and break all of this down into the fundamental financial management rules that you need to apply.
Yeah, so I think what you've done is really good by simplifying your life, which is a really important thing. And like you said, when you have a child and you have the second child, life changes. The biggest thing when it comes to finance is adapting. If you don't adapt, you're going to be taken out. So it's anything in life. Change is a constant. It's going to happen. So if you don't adapt, I think for me, as well with when my child arrived, the biggest thing I fought for so long was the change. And that's what killed me, But eventually you get into a position where you actually mentally get into a place where you start changing. But a big thing when it comes to the kids today, and the biggest expense that they really bring about is the schooling. And the whole schooling debate now between private and public school is quite a hectic debate, because private schooling is 3, 4, 5 times the price of public schooling. And I think that's where a lot of parents get caught up. What do I do? Should I be sending my kid to private school? Should I be sending him to public school? And I don't think there's a really one-size-fits-all solution to that. You kind of need to look at your area and talk about and do research on what public schools do I have and what private schools do I have in my area, because there's neither wrong or right for either one of them. It's just what suits your personality, but more importantly, what suits your pocket.
What suits your pocket?
Because at the end of the day, I've got some really close family friends. She was a teacher at one of the most prestigious private schools in South Africa. She put her 2 kids through there, and she taught there. And she sat down with me the other day and said, because it's now time for us to start thinking about private schools, public schools, and she said, if you can afford it without putting yourself into too much financial difficulty, then go for it. But if it's going to stress you out, rather send your kid to a public school.
I'm starting to think like parents should just, as a standard, get their own teaching degrees and homeschooling should become a thing.
Well,
But,
homeschooling things is huge at the moment.
There we go, there we go. But at the end of the day, I think we've spoken about this before, taking some time out of your month to do a proper budget, making sure that it's there, and at the end, reconciling the budgeted amount versus the spent amount. And you see in the next month, where can you improve in cutting certain costs? And I think you've already taken huge strides in taking out all of those things that are luxuries. And when comes the time, I think then, you know, your financial freedom is going to be absolutely amazing. And then, bam, you're going to be driving a Lamborghini.
Bam.
Hey, man, I don't know. I hope so, man. But it really is, like you're saying, it's all about trying to adapt.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest part for me, is just trying to adapt to the new scenarios that's presented, like, every now and then, because it changes quite quickly.
Yeah, and also not to put too much pressure on yourself, because I can see you putting a lot of pressure on yourself, right? When it comes to providing all these different things. And you can still provide them, maybe just not in the time frame that you're wanting, but it's still in the longer term you'll be providing the things that you want to provide. So maybe even just adjusting the time frames could loosen up the cash flow. And also from a mental perspective, most of the time from a financial thing, mentally, if you get that right, you've won the battle.
There we go.
At the end of the day.
I guess the one thread that we're pulling throughout here is the adaptation or the adaptation, the adjusting. So it seems at the end of the day that making change can actually bring you some real change in your pocket too.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do this again, of course, next week with Grant van Zyl and another celebrity with our Expresso Wealth Wednesdays.